Hey there, Next Gen Millionaires. Welcome this week. I'm Joe Burns. For those who have not met me, I'm the Money Master. I'm here to share with you my thoughts, feelings, sometimes emotions around how I talk about money and really the emotional side of money, right? My goal is to help you speak, feel, talk differently about money and really focus on how that can change your world as you start to discover what it is you want to change about how you deal with money. A lot of people always ask me, Joe, can you help me with what I would call the IQ side, right? The budgets, the stock market, stuff like that. That's not me. So if you're here watching this today, I'm going to help you with the money EQ side of life and how you can make money your best friend. So this week's topic is kind of interesting. So I wanted to kind of dive into some things I see. And now, as most of the time I talk to you, you're going to notice if you watch my channel often, I don't give a lot of specifics with some of the examples I use because most of the time I don't have permission. So I generalize some of who I'm talking about to protect the identities of those, right? Unless somebody specifically says, "Hey, Joe, you can use this in a live stream," then I'll specifically talk about that. So as you watch different videos, just to give you some idea, a lot of times I have to generalize kind of some of the people I talk about because either I've not asked them for permission, but I still find that it's a good teaching moment to talk about the situation, not necessarily the people. Okay, and I want to get that clear. Right, this isn't about like calling people out and being like, "Oh, they're doing it wrong." Now, sometimes I do. But for the most part, it's about looking at how can we apply what we see in the world when it comes to money and our emotions to ourselves, right? If you followed me for any amount of time or watched any amount of these videos, remember, it's all about you, okay? I just want to put that out there because when we can start changing ourselves, then the outward external things start to change. But if we can't change ourselves, we're always looking externally saying, oh, they're doing it wrong, they're doing it wrong, they're doing it wrong. It doesn't really help us. We can all point out what somebody else is doing wrong, but can we recognize it in ourselves first so we can change it and do something different? Okay. So remember, this is always for internally. How does this resonate with me and what can I take away from it so that I can start making different decisions in my life? Doesn't matter about anybody else. Okay. And that's kind of the topic I want to get into today. And really it's business owners, and we can even say people who work in corporate, as the money maker you are, feeling like the amount of money you make is the value you have, right? Now, I'm a huge proponent of who you are, not what you do, okay? Because then we can take who we are, those attributes, characteristics, that drive we have, whatever it is that we have, and take it and go anywhere and make money. We can go anywhere and create impact. We can create whatever legacy we want, right? It's not just about the money. And it's rarely ever about the money. But that's a component of the resources we're trying to get. So we'll use it as a good way to reflect back to us what it is that we're feeling. So there's a couple of examples that I've seen recently where I hear business owners, right? And they're always like, you look at entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs, and they get to hire these business coaches and the big internet marketing thing, and the buzz on the internet, right? Social media, we're all trying to keep up with the social mediaites, is, oh, like your business is like whatever, it's really cool, but if you haven't made $1 million, then are you really a business? Like I've heard that before. People are always saying, oh, make $1 million, this is my first $1 million I made, blah, 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 right? This can be problematic. But anyway, so that's the benchmark people put. It's like, oh, God, make $1 million. And I'm not like discounting that goal. That's an awesome goal, right? It's really something cool to work towards, right? And beyond that. Now, from my perspective, I know that in making that amount of money, I'll have a certain amount of impact and influence over people and their lives, right? Which is what my big goal is anyways, right? My big goal is I want to impact the way people talk and feel and interact with money, right? That's my goal. But I want to affect 1 billion people before I die. That's a big goal, right? So again, me hitting certain money business markers in my business will give me a test of how many people I'm actually reaching, aside from actually counting those people, right? That's another number. But what happens is I see too many business owners who start to build their businesses and they start to see success, right? And they hire coaches and they keep pushing towards this Holy Grail. Right now, this Holy Grail, let's talk about this for a moment. This Holy Grail of $1 million in entrepreneurial business used to be the proverbial 6 figures in corporate world, right? I remember growing up, it's like, oh, if you made 6 figures, you had all the money in the world, blah, 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 and all this stuff, right? And people keep trying to hit 6 figures business, which isn't bad. Again, not discounting the amount of money. But again, we think that once we hit these goals, that we've somehow hit some promised land and things are all going to be different. Okay? And the thing is that's not the case. Things are actually going to probably be more difficult when you hit some of these goals because your business is going to be bigger, your responsibilities at work are going to be bigger, whatever the case is, however you make the money, you're going to have more responsibility or things to deal with to maintain that, which isn't bad again, but it's something to consider. So we get there and we're like, oh, life should be so much easier, but we find like life sometimes actually gets harder. And it starts to push on us and weigh on us. And our shoulders start to slump. We're like, oh, I got to do all these things. Because what's happened is we've actually replaced our self-value with the value that we're making. It's really easy to do. And a lot of people do it. Instead of it being an accomplishment that people can celebrate, we feel like once we get there, then that will define us. And let me tell you, there are plenty of examples on the internet, right, of people who have a lot of money coming into their lives, even if they built it or were given it, that really become broke over a short amount of time afterwards. And I remember reading a statistic at one point in time, anybody who gets a large windfall, we're talking like Powerball winners or Mega Million winners, like these lottery winners, they'll be in a worse state 18 to 24 months after they get their large winnings. And that's like 70% of those people. Okay. So there's 30% that like figure it out. But 70% is still a lot. But this happens in a lot of different things. If you watch, and I've talked about this multiple times, but if you watch like athletes, right, you'll see the rise and fall of athletes and how much money they make and what's happening, right? Nobody's there teaching them that, listen, this is a resource that you're being given because of what you're doing, but it doesn't define who you are. So it saddens my heart when we go about life like always focused on these goals as like, oh, this is the thing that will get me to what I really want. And again, like I said in the beginning, like these goals are awesome. But how are we really feeling in the inside? Can we feel the same if we're making $100 versus if we're making $1 million? Can we still feel the same on the inside? And I know those two numbers are very drastic. But at the end of the day, no amount of money that we make really should be determining how we feel about ourselves. That's not the value of who we are. Yet so many people let that be their value. So when they have money, they're just amazing and they love life and everything's going well. And when they don't, life sucks and in some cases they want to exit. Like I've seen this wide variety of emotions. So I ask you, what can you do to take care of these emotions so it doesn't matter how much you make? Right? Because as you build your business, you're going to start making more money and you can probably have more expenses and it's going to be this never-ending run of really, I'm not okay, I'm not satisfied with where I'm at. And it's not as satisfied as in like, it's a driving force to have you do better. It's as satisfied as in like, I don't like myself until I reach some weird goal. And then even then you get there and it's still not good enough. Because then you're going to find reasons why the money you made wasn't the way you wanted to make money, so it doesn't count. Or we're going to pass it off. And you think I'm funny. Like probably, some of you are probably laughing right now, being like, oh yeah, sure, Joe, whatever. But I've seen it happen. I've seen business owners make and hit their goals. And then they get grumpy when they come to calls with me saying, yeah, I made it, but I didn't make it the way I wanted to, so it doesn't count. What? Like, why? You hit a goal. This goal is just a line we draw in the sand to be like, hey, can I get there? And once we get there, then we'll be like, cool, how do I feel about myself? What's going on? What's happening with my business? What's happening with my personal life? Do I like the trajectory of where it's going? Right? These are the questions we need to start asking ourselves because it's an internal game. But I promise you, no amount of money you make will ever resolve how you feel about yourself on the inside. So you got to start and do that yourself. Because if not, like this one example of this person who been up and down their business, like hit $1 million and like imploded. And I've seen it. I've seen it with people I don't even know, like watching them on the internet. Hit $1 million, $1.5 million, and all of a sudden they decide they want to do something completely different and scrap that. And then they wonder why they struggle. Well, guess what? Your business isn't the problem. You are. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but if we can solve for this, if we can solve for what we see here in the mirror, then we can start making better decisions that aren't clouded by how we feel. It's clouded by judgment, clouded by should haves, supposed to's, things like that. We can be clear on where direction we're going and who we're serving. And that is what it really is a juicy spot. Because now we're focused more on the impact we're going to make and allowing the money to show up in that impact. We're building something that's going to be able to be a legacy for not only our children, but their children's children and generations beyond. Right? That's what we want. Well, at least that's what I want. So if I focus on the money, I'm going to get money, but then I'm chasing money. And I tell my clients all the time, don't ever chase the money because it's not about the money. What is it about that bigger thing you want to do? Because it'll keep you going. It'll help you make better decisions in your business. You'll be more happy in your life because you're choosing into making the impact and leaving the legacy that you know in your heart you want to do. And that's what it's all about. So set goals for your business, sure. Figure out why you're feeling like really crappy when you don't meet them, because that's where the real gold is. And when you can find that, then you can start to change how you feel. And when you start changing how you feel, then the outcome is way better than where you're at now. And I'm seriously talking to anybody that, like, it doesn't matter how much you make. There's still an impact, because I know people who make a lot of money and they still deal with these same issues. Okay. So think about it. I gave you some things to think about this week. So mull it over. Think about it, right? How are you feeling about when you hit your goals or when you don't hit them? That's the most important question I can ask you this week. Other than that, have a great week and we'll see you later. Bye.